One of the things it makes me think of is what I think of as like a spidey sense, which I guess is also intuition. So I remember last year or 2 years ago, I was writing a blog post about, I had visited Charles Darwin's house, which is amazing. Go to Down House. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Outside London. It's wonderful. And I was using AI to help me write a blog post, externalizing my thoughts, making a flow. And at one point, I was remembering in Darwin's journals how he talks about how absolutely miserable he was on the Beagle for 5 years. Absolutely miserable, hated it. And so I asked ChatGPT, did Darwin ever get on another ship after having done the voyage of the Beagle? Because my sort of understanding was no, like he'd had enough, he never got another boat. And ChatGPT said, yeah, absolutely. He was on the ship, The Descent of Man in whatever, 1873, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And then I was starting to type and I didn't copy and paste. I was typing, so it was slower. And then I was like getting this feeling,
Wait a
right?
minute.
And you and I are making the same
Yeah.
face. So like that's the feeling makes you have that face. So I'm like, I don't think that's right. And so I went and I saw, like, yeah, Charles Darwin wrote a book called The Descent of Man. And actually, there was even a ship in England in approximately the same time that had approximately the same name. And I had to actually stop myself from going and looking up the ship's manifest just to make sure that Darwin wasn't on it. I'm like, no, like, there's too much going on here that is telling me that something here is not quite right and needs my attention. But if I'm moving fast, that signal is dampened, right? I'm
Oh,
not able to hear that or
absolutely.
to feel what's going on in my body. And I keep using that word, but there's a physical sensation for me when something is grating against my intuition. And my intuition is largely built upon first principles, just like you're saying. So that is a very useful signal for me. And I can't hear it if I'm moving fast. And do I get this right every time? No, absolutely not. But that's why I try very hard as I'm scheduling how I do my job and how I work. I always try to hold every week, if not every day, time for deep work
Mm.
where there's no checking email, there's no taking calls, there's no slacks, like none of that, where the signal to noise ratio in my life for that 2 hours or whatever it is very high. And
Mm.
then I can do the deep work that I need and I can really access that. And this is another piece of advice that I would give to our audience is really think about the signal to noise ratio in your life.